Did we do it right? Did we prosecute it right? Did we go through the evidence properly? Yes, there's no question in my mind.
3 years ago, Todd Flood led the criminal prosecution of the Flint Water Emergency. The state team let him go in April after a new attorney general took office. All charges filed so far now dropped, and that investigation will begin again. In his first one-on-one sit-down interview, the former special prosecutor is speaking out. Only on ABC 12 News, and he's upset but hopeful for the people of Flint.
Yes, Flood actually offered his resignation when the new AG took over, but they asked him to stay, and he was more than willing to help.
Do I regret it? No. No. Did I want it to end this way for me? No. It's sad for me, right? Because I fell in love with the people of Flint.
Devoting his time, money, and talent to getting them justice, working to find who was criminally responsible for causing them the pain of the water crisis. Todd Flood even moved to Flint.
Just to meet the people and walk the streets, go up and down MLK Boulevard to, go into the sections of town where people were hurt most, oftentimes. That was important to me.
But 3 years after he announced the first of more than 50 criminal charges against 15 defendants, Todd Flood was let go from the Flint Water Investigative Team.
To not be part of the team is tough, but I'm still a person of hope and belief. There's people on the current team that were on my team, and I'm hopeful and prayerful that they keep the fight going and they finish the story, finish the journey.
Then a bombshell Thursday, the new AG's team announcing these 7 plea agreements stand, but the 8 unfinished cases would be dropped pending new evidence and further investigation.
At the end of the day, it's difficult for anybody to step into someone else's investigation and pick it up.
But Flood says it's unfair to say his team didn't do a thorough and complete job, pointing out 2 key state officials were bound over to trial on involuntary manslaughter charges tied to Legionnaire's disease deaths caused by the water switch.
Hopefully, the citizens of Flint don't feel like they're a political football and know someday justice will come, and I believe it will.
And coming up at 6, Flood shares the impact the case had on him both physically and emotionally. Angie.
He spent 3 years in a Flint courtroom holding city and state officials accountable for their role in the Flint water emergency. Todd Flood even moved to Flint, but he was let go in April. And yesterday, a new bombshell. The new Attorney General's office has dismissed all pending criminal cases and is starting this investigation all over. Only on ABC 12, and he's still thinking of Flint, but working to get back to his old life.
He is. When Flood was hired to lead the Flint Water Investigative Team, he dropped his 148 cases to just 2, focusing on justice for the people of Flint. He looks a little different 3 years later, but former Special Prosecutor Todd Flood says he feels just fine.
I am sleeping better, and I am getting, used to a little bit. But when you're running that hard for that long of a period of time, it's difficult.
In the process of working to slow down, Flood mentions he suffered a heart attack earlier this year, likely stress-induced.
This is everything you put in your life for 3 years. I've lost and sacrificed a lot. My personal self, my family, relationships because of this.
But he's not asking for any pity. Reflecting back on 3 intense years building criminal cases against 15 people, Flood says he's still humbled he was asked to take on the job.
I want to write a book on life lessons learned from Flint. The citizens of Flint are resilient. They're fighters, and they make stuff happen, like no one's business.
And while he's not happy with the way the new team has questioned his team's work,
I don't mind as long as the end game is the same. Bring justice to these people. I wish nothing more than those people to have smiles on their faces, some peace and some answers, and to enjoy living.
3 people from Flood's team have remained on the cases. He says he will always be available if any of them need his help. Angie.